Hi crafty friends, I hope you're all doing very well. Today is the 23rd of May 2020 and the reason I'm making this video is that Stash Dash started yesterday and I wanted to have a bit of a chat about that. So if you don't know it, Stash Dash is an annual 3-month long marathon really to use up as much stash and finish up as much projects as you can. And it's run by the Knit Girls podcast. If you haven't seen their podcast before, they are girls with 3 L's. And I've taken part once or twice, certainly last year. I think I did around 4,000 metres, 4,500 maybe. And this year I'm hoping to do a little bit more. So there aren't any big prizes or anything like that. It's more a case of having a competition against yourself and trying to finish as much as you can, and just that satisfaction of finishing things and getting stash out of your stash. So yesterday I filmed a little video chatting through the projects that I have on the go at the moment. If you know me at all, you'll know I'm absolutely not a monogamous knitter or crafter. I always have many projects on the go, although lately the many has decreased a little bit, not by a lot. So yeah, the video yesterday chats a bit about some of those projects and kind of just gives the starting point for me to track how far I've come with things over the period of Stash Dash. And I also have a little bit of footage about 2 cross stitches that I'm working on at the moment, which may or may not be of interest. I think it's about 30 seconds of chat. So my thinking is to film a little video at the end of every week. It might be that I film bits and pieces through the week and compile them together, or it might just be a sitting down and having a blether and showing you what I've finished and what I've been working on, what I've started. It all depends how busy my weeks are and how my motivation is doing, of course. I often start things like this where the idea is that I will do something regularly and people will be able to see it, and then I give up after about 2 weeks. So we shall see. There may only be a small handful of videos, or I might manage to keep it up until August. We'll see how I go. But yes, I will hand over to Hannah of the past and show you how my whips are standing at the start of Stash Dash.
So let's have a look through my whips. This is my Eastlight shawl. I should know how to pronounce that because it's a Shetland name or a Shetland word, but the dialect varies around a bit. So as you can see, I've got most of the edging done. Sorry, this is in a bit of a witter. So just a little bit left to do, and then I need to pick up all along the long top edge and basically finish that off, so that should be done very soon. Then we've got the start of a pair of booties, so they shouldn't take long at all. These are the little straps to fasten over the ankle, so I'm working down the foot towards the sole, and that's the first one. I have my Yule book mittens by Skein Deer. This is the first one, so yep, I've got a wee while to go on those, but again, they're not a big project. I've not just been overly excited about these lately, but maybe because it's not very seasonal at the moment. But they shouldn't take too long. And then this is my Trondra hat by Emily Williams. It is a hat that gets knit really long up and then twisted and folded in on itself and then lined as well, so this is going to be a big, for a hat it's going to use a lot of stash, although technically I've had to buy the lace weight especially for the inner lining, but the yellow comes in more and more as the diamonds progress, and then it becomes mostly yellow with just a little bit of grey, so that's very enjoyable. Then we have my Scottish Wildflowers iPad cover. It's a Woolly Originals design, and this is the second time that I've knit this portion. Anybody who follows me on Instagram will have seen the debacle. I started out with white on the bottom and kept the green going up the side the whole way, which was just daft, but I was in the middle of a very social Zoom call and I wasn't really thinking properly. So similarly to the Trondra, this will be lined as well, so obviously the height of the iPad will be patterned, and then there's a plane the same height of the iPad again, which then gets folded in so it's extra thick for protecting your iPad mini, I should say. Now this is a Rooibos hat by Claire Devine. I've only done the rib, but it's Aran weight, I think, or DK. That's a good question. Yes, Aran weight. So that shouldn't take too long when I get myself into gear. This is totally blowing out the camera. This is my Soft Hearted Cowl by Maddie Harvey, and it is almost finished as well. I'm only doing the, I can't remember how she describes it, but the smallest version anyway. There's 3 different versions. So this, as you can see, the diagonal are coming quite close to the last stitches, so it shouldn't take too long to get finished. What you can't really see, the pink is pretty vibrant, but this is the cream based but quite speckled yarn from La Bien-Aimée. Then we have my crochet blanket for raising money for junior choir. So loads and loads of squares, every one a different shade of Jimison and Smith, and I am very nearly finished all the squares. I've got a stash from a few different people that I've been using, and I'm on to the last bundle, so I think I have about 15 more squares to go, and that'll be all the squares made, and then I'll have to join it all together, and I think it's going to be roughly the size of a double bed, so that's going to take quite a wee while, but it will be a lot of meterage for Stash Dash. And finally, my Cozy Memories blanket. Now, I am not going to be finishing this during Stash Dash, but you can include mitered squares that join as you go, only the ones that you actually work on. So I'll have to weigh the yarn that I use for each square and see what's left. But I will be including those. I'm trying to do one a day at the moment as part of 100 Days Project Scotland as well, although I'm mostly doing cross stitch for that, but I thought it would be a good project to get this back on the go. But I've been having fun games because I cast this on in 2018, I think, and did the first row of squares, and obviously came back and did a few more, maybe last year or the year before, maybe even, I think. And then I picked it up this week and I got cracking with, I've got a big, in fact I'll bring it over, big bag of scraps and bits and pieces, and in there was a circular needle. So I just assumed that Hannah of the past would have been sensible and left in the correct needle. Why would I have put a different size needle in? I do not know. And I did go looking for the instructions that I had been following. It's a free pattern on Ravelry by Kemper Ray, but I had noted that I was doing some adaptations to match what Katie from Inside 23 had done. And when I first took it out again this past week or so, I looked on Katie's Ravelry page and couldn't see it. And I thought, oh, silly me, I should have made a note of what I had actually done because I thought she had deleted the project. Now I've gone back today and realised that actually it was there all along. But in the meantime, I had figured out exactly how I was doing them because the pattern doesn't have the central double decrease, which that was something that she had done. So I'd obviously worked that out. I did a really bad job because I'd forgotten that I had been slipping the first stitch in every row. But also, as you can see, these squares that I had added, they're way bigger than the ones before. And I was like, surely my gauge has not changed so much in, 2 years. I think that's very unlikely. So the other night on knit night, I chose a needle 2 sizes smaller, and it's a bit better obviously, but still not the same gauge as the previous ones. So today I had another look back, and I looked back at old photos of this, which I didn't have on my project page, and discovered that rather than the circular needle I had been using this week, I had originally knit these on DPNs. And then I found Katie's project, which had obviously been there all along, and realised that she was using a 2.5mm. Now these were done with a 3.75. That one was with a 3.25mm. So obviously really not the right size needle at all. So I'm going to rip back all of those, and also did this one last night, which is, actually I'd probably leave that one. It's okay. That's still the 3.25mm needle, but I made more of an effort to knit a bit more tightly. This one's in DK, so I think it's obviously still a bit taller. I mean, these original squares I've done, some of them are quite square, but some of them are really more rectangular than square, like these two. If you look at them the other way, you can tell that they're very much rectangle rather than square. But yeah, that one's, I'd probably just leave that one, but these are getting ripped back. And that's maybe slightly annoying, but also it means that I'll be able to count them for Stash Dash, so that's a win. But yeah, those are my current whips that I will be working on. There are other things that I want to knit as well. Obviously some of these are not going to take very long to get finished. I should be finished the soft-hearted cowl and ace light by the end of May, and I would think maybe the booties as well. So yeah, I've got a few other things that I'll probably cast on. Yeah, hopefully I'll get quite a lot done. Just while we're talking about whips, I also mentioned that I was taking part in the 100 Days Project Scotland, which started on the 16th of May, and I am mostly doing cross stitch for that along with my Cozy Memories squares. So I'm working on this cross stitch which I started on the 16th, and it is the Ross Clan crest. I'm making this for my granny for her birthday, which is in June, so not 100 days away, but I don't think it's going to take me too long. I'm going to try and put in a good amount of work at the weekends for the next couple of weeks, and hopefully I'll be fairly well on top of it. In this time of lockdown, I am thinking I'll probably just buy a frame and attempt framing the cross stitch myself, which I've never done before, but I'm sure that I can find instructions and tips on doing that online. And so that'll get sent off. It will need to be with her by the 25th of June. And after that point, I will go back onto my cat and birds cross stitch, which I have been working on. Those of you who follow me on Instagram will know this. I have been working on it since the 23rd of July 2003. So yes, it's been a very long-term project, but I've enjoyed it a lot. It's been ignored for years on end, but I have been working on it fairly regularly for about 2 or 3 years maybe. Specifically this bit, all this corner here, that's all been done very recently. In fact, I think since lockdown began. So once I've finished the clan cross stitch, then I'll work maybe 20 minutes a day on this, and that gives me 60 days, well, more than 60 days. If I finish the other one 10 days before it's due, then actually that would give me 70 days working on this cross stitch. So I feel like I could do quite a lot of work in 20 minutes a day for 70 days consecutively. Maybe not quite finish it all, but I feel like I should be able to put quite a dent into it, so that's good. It'd be nice to have this finished by sort of Christmas time, because it is quite festive, so there we go. Hello friends, it's Sunday the 24th of May now, and I have a finished object, hooray! So this is my Ace Light Shawl by Gudrun Johnson, aka the Shetland Trader, and I knit it in Yarn Pony yarn, which was dyed by Mika from Edinburgh Yarn Festival many years ago. She doesn't dye yarn anymore, or at least not for sale. I popped a photo of this that I took last night in some very yellow light on Twitter, and Louise Scully recognised the yarn, so well done Louise. But yeah, I finished bound off last night and sewed in the ends this morning, so I will block it this coming week I think, but that's finished. I haven't weighed it yet, so I've not worked out what my meterage is, but that's me off to a good start. I've also finished one of my crochet squares for the blanket. I have cast on a rockweed cushion cover, which is by Kate Bostwick, also known as Cowtown Knits. I've been meaning to knit this for a long while, and I've got 3 balls of this Erica Knight maxi yarn, so that's me off to a start. It's on 9mm needles, so it won't take me very long at all. And then my Cozy Memories blanket, as you can see, having found the right needle to match what I was doing before, the squares that I have put in over the last couple of days are looking much better and in line with the rest of them, so I'm very pleased. I've still got half of Sunday to go, but I'm not expecting to finish anything else of any particular excitement, so I will finish this video here and we'll look forward to seeing you next week.